Let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling a totally silent threat that's lurking in pretty much every modern business right now: the hidden, compounding liabilities of outdated software. We're going to look at why that old, familiar program your team relies on every single day might actually be a ticking time bomb for both your company's bottom line and your security. Now be honest with yourself for a second. Are you guilty of the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality? Look, it is an incredibly relatable desire. As a business owner or a manager, you want to protect your budget today, right? If you've got legacy software that still turns on and gets the job done, well, at least on the surface, it's so tempting to just hold on to it. Why pay for a massive disruptive system upgrade when the current setup still technically functions? We've all been there. But before we dive into the deep waters to uncover where the real software threats lurk beneath that assumption, do me a quick favor, smash that like button and subscribe. It really helps us keep bringing you these focused, high-impact explainers so you can stay one step ahead. Okay, let's talk about the iceberg model: surface savings versus hidden dangers. I want you to think of legacy software exactly like an iceberg. Upgrading software is expensive, absolutely, so skipping those upgrades might feel like a really smart move for a quarter or two. Your balance sheet looks amazing, but those are just your surface savings. And just like an iceberg, what you can't see is usually what sinks the ship. Holding on to outdated platforms sets you up for some absolutely catastrophic trouble down the road. Let's break down exactly what those hidden dangers are. That brings us straight to pillar 1, the hidden security threat. You know those annoying update pop-ups? Well, software updates aren't just about flashy new features. They frequently include critical patches that fix known weaknesses. When older programs reach the end of their lifecycle, they just stop receiving those patches. The source material puts it perfectly. Leaving those vulnerabilities wide open essentially gives cybercriminals the keys to your system. Older systems are literally the easiest, most common targets for cybersecurity threats. Hackers know exactly what these unpatched vulnerabilities are, and because your software is no longer supported, they know nobody is coming to fix the holes. You're basically leaving the front door wide open. Now, compare the cost of a standard upgrade to the true cost of a data breach. If your business stores customer info, financial records, or employee files, a single breach creates absolute chaos. We're talking about months of agonizing cleanup. We're talking incredibly expensive data recovery efforts. And honestly, worst of all, a completely devastated company reputation. It completely dwarfs the few $1,000s you thought you saved on a software license. You saved pennies just to lose dollars, and potentially the trust of your entire customer base. Moving right along to pillar 2, the productivity black hole. This right here is the reality of your team's daily grind. First, older software naturally suffers from performance degradation over time. It just gets clunky. Second, this leads to frequent freezing. Third, those slow response times begin to literally dictate the pace of your workflow. And suddenly, step 4, your employees are spending half their day just waiting for the software to catch up. Imagine an employee just trying to log a simple customer request, but they have to stare at a spinning wheel of death for 3 minutes every single time they click a button. Minor delays compound into massive, expensive wasted time. And it isn't just about the software being slow. Newer tools and platforms are built to automatically communicate with other modern software. That is what should happen. But if you're stubbornly holding on to an outdated platform, it won't connect with newer apps. So what actually happens? Your team is forced to invent crazy manual workarounds. They're spending hours doing the good old copy-paste routine, manually transferring data between systems that should just be talking to each other automatically. This kind of incompatibility slows your entire operation down to a crawl. Which leads us seamlessly into pillar 3, the reality of downtime. Entrepreneurs so often focus entirely on the sticker price of an upgrade, and they completely miss the massive financial drain of downtime. Software performance degradation sneaks up on you gradually. Tasks that once took a few minutes slowly expand into these huge extended wait times. But here's the thing: old systems don't just slow down, they crash, and they crash a lot. When they do finally break, the restart times drag out painfully, completely stopping your employees from getting their actual jobs done. And when the system does go down, welcome to the world of emergency repairs. Trust me, these always cost more than planned upgrades. Let's stack up these hidden costs for a second. First, IT support fees skyrocket because your tech team gets pulled into a totally preventable mess. Second, you've got lost revenue because your operations have literally halted. Third, missed deadlines pile up because your internal projects are stalled out waiting for the system. And finally, customer frustration damages the trust you've worked so hard to build. All of these hidden costs quickly and aggressively exceed whatever price you would have paid to just update your systems on schedule. And finally, Pillar 4, the cost of compliance. Now, if you operate in an industry that handles payments, healthcare records, or any kind of private customer data, this is absolutely crucial. By definition, keeping obsolete systems means you're running unsupported technology. This inherently increases your risk of data breaches. And when it comes to sensitive data, regulators actively mandate secure, supported technology. By failing to upgrade, you aren't just risking a hack, you're actively increasing your risk of triggering regulatory audits, severe financial penalties, and massive legal trouble. Seriously, if there's one single thing you remember from this explainer, let it be this quote right here. Regulators don't accept "we were saving money" as a valid excuse. It is really as simple as that. If your company gets audited or breached and you can't explain why you deliberately ignored known cybersecurity threats just to protect a short-term budget, you are going to face indefensible penalties. And I assure you, the financial hit from a compliance violation will entirely dwarf whatever standard upgrade costs you were trying to avoid in the first place. Okay, we've explored the hidden iceberg, so let's bring this explainer toward a resolution. The solution? Routine maintenance over repair. Escaping this liability requires a pretty simple shift in mindset. We just have to treat software updates as routine business maintenance. The problem is, most businesses never expect issues with their outdated software until the exact moment those problems bring the whole company to its knees. The absolute best way to avoid unplanned repair bills, regulatory fines, and lost workdays is to proactively maintain your systems. Plan for upgrades, budget for them, just like you'd budget for electricity or rent or keeping the lights on. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Take a really close look at your current tech stack and ask yourself, is your legacy software actually protecting your budget today, or is it secretly bankrupting your business tomorrow? Delaying an upgrade can feel so smart for a quarter or two, but the bill always comes due, and it is always incredibly expensive when it does. Don't wait for the inevitable to crash to find out what your old software is truly costing you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I can't wait to see you next time.